everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Amy. Today I'm going to show you just how to do a real simple loose flower using a flat brush, which if you follow my videos, that's probably my favorite brush to use. I am going to be using two Amagic flat brushes, a number 12 and a number 10, along with a Deerfoot stippler. And I will also be using a dotting stylus for it as well. Paint I'm using today are Forest Moss, Magenta, Thicket, or no, actually I'm not doing Thicket, take that back, I'm not doing Thicket, sorry, Wicker White, Burnt Umber, and a little bit of Licorice. All these are FolkArt paints. I use a mixture of enamels and multi-surface. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin. Very, 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 very simple flower. I mixed, and as far as the ratio, I just randomly did it with the Wicker White and the Magenta to make the lighter pink. And I'm just going to dip my brush into it and continue to paint, and by dipping, I'm not really not a real meticulous person when it comes to being exact with my loading of my brush. So hopefully you will understand that by the way I paint. Alright, so basically this is just a real freestyle kind of flower to paint. This should be easy for anyone that can hold a brush. Seriously. Alright, so I am just randomly pulling these petals towards the center using the lighter colors at the top of the flower. And I will go over them a little bit because the more opaque your design is, the more durable it is, meaning that it's not going to easily scratch. And I know people ask that quite often, you know, does this paint scratch? Well, it can. I mean, it's hand painted, so you want to treat it like fine china, basically. Alright, so that's the top of one flower. I'm going to go down the bottom here and do another one basically the same way. I'm just pulling flat brush strokes. You can turn it to the side a little bit if you want. You can add more white to it. You can do this and then go back over it if you want to make sure you're getting it on thick enough. Up to you. Okay. And I guess that's what I want to stress, or can't stress enough, is when you're painting, you know, use my designs as inspiration, but you can go off and do and add your own, and you know, your own designs or techniques, however you want to paint them, make them your own. Basically, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to follow exactly how I'm doing it. My intention is to get people to paint, be creative. It's a great stress reliever, great hobby. You can find yourself making some of your own gifts, and they're not, you know, a lot of times when you think of a homemade gift, you think of like what a little kid might do. Not that that's not nice. It's just that, you know, might give you kind of a like, okay, this is a homemade gift. All right. I apologize for that. I was baking some glassware. And like I said, I can just come over here, just add to it, go back over it, whatever you want to do. And I think while I have this paint out, I am going to go over this just a smidge because I do want it to have good coverage. And I don't necessarily want it blended, but I do want good coverage. And you can turn your brush too. You don't have to be straight. You can use it on the chisel edge, like up and down, or on the side, however you want to do it. Again, just very loose, like that. Now I'm going to kind of just wipe it off a little bit, and I'm going to come back over it with the magenta and white. Basically loading it the same. And then I'm just going to come in here and add this to it. This is my little buds. Just real light kind of strokes like that. Very simple. Then what I'm going to do is come in here and start adding in my bottom petals. And they're going to be in the more of the full-on magenta with white, just to make the petals at the bottom a little darker. And I can come in here and just kind of pull them up in here. Again, just little movements towards the center. Very simple. And it's okay to go over, you know, the flower below you, beside you. Not beside you personally, but, you know, that's below or beside. Definitely fine. Because if you were putting a centerpiece together or a bouquet, it would, yeah, it's going to overlap. All right, so then I'm going to do the same thing to this bottom one. Just start bringing them up. That's why I say anybody that can hold a paintbrush can paint. If you can hold a paintbrush, you can paint. Doesn't have to be difficult, and I want to get into showing you other ways to do it if you want to use a pattern. I just haven't gotten to that point. I need to get some flat glass. I like painting on glass. Anything that I'm showing you can be transferred over and used on other surfaces. It doesn't have to be glass. If you'd rather paint on wood or, you know, canvas, that kind of thing, you can do any of that. All right, I'm just going to work this a little bit, tap in some centers, and then I'll finish this other one. And you can layer it like this. It's just kind of, I think, gives it a little more interest if you do have some layering to it. But that's up to you. Again, I don't like to be, I don't know, I don't want to say pushy, but I don't like to be where I say that you have to do it a certain way. You can do it however you want to do it. Okay, so I'm using the forest moss and the red umber, and I'm just loading my brush. I put the lighter on the tip, the darker on the heel, and I'm going to come in here, make sure I'm on my camera. I got a new card for my video camera, and my video camera's still not working. So guess what? I think it's time to replace it. Unfortunately. Alright, so we're going to go around like that. Got that center in. I can even put my center heading down this direction as if it's kind of flopping over, leaning over. I love these brushes for centers. Alright, so I'm just kind of tapping it in like that. Make that a little bit darker. And then I want to go into this one here, because I'm not done with it yet. But I'm going to go ahead and tip it in. Not sure how much of it's going to show, but I want to have a center in here. I want it to be seen. Just do a little bit darker down here, and you'll see what I'm going to do here in a minute to finish off these centers, but we're just going to do this right now. Okay, quit messing with it because I can get kind of crazy with them. All right, so then I'm going to take my brush, do the magenta again, and I apologize, my furnace is getting ready to start up here again. And then I'm going to come in here and do it like it's a, more like it's a folded flower. And then just kind of pull. I don't want to mess up the center too much, but it's okay. I mean, I intended to cover it up some. I just wasn't sure how much of it I could or would be covering up when I did this. Again, these are just supposed to be very loose flowers. Not anything real, I don't know, I say detailed or whatnot. Okay, so we did that. I'm going to come in with my bigger brush. This is the 10. Dip it into, here goes my furnace. Dip it into my forest moss and my brown, the burnt umber. Load my brush. And I can always tip it into the white too. I like to add white. And then I'm going to come in here with the brush and do my little stems. And then I'm going to use these to actually connect the flower to the stem, just with the basic pulling down motion on the chisel edge of the brush. That way I'm connecting it to the stem. And you can use a smaller brush so you don't have to use this big of a brush, because it is big. It would probably be easier with something a little smaller, but I didn't want to have too many brushes. You want to know the truth of it. I just wanted a few small. And you can keep working on that if you want your stem. Now, like I said, with this, because it's so crowded, it's not, I don't know how to say it. I don't have a whole lot of room. And I could have made these blooms a little smaller, but I didn't, so. But you'll get the gist, right? If you had some more space here, you could show that, and then maybe even bring another stem down. And I got pink in there. And I'm going to bring it down like that. Bring this one down. And I'm going to have it like it's coming out here. Now, you don't have to have the stems if you want to do like your just painting leaves around the flowers, or just the flower blooms even, that's fine. That's up to you, but you basically get the gist here. Now I'm going to just do some basic, real easy little leaves to go around these little blooms. We're almost finished, almost finished. I appreciate you hanging here with me. If you have any questions, please make sure you put those down below. I would love to hear from you. And I am going to come over this a little bit. Again, I like to do where I'm actually going over the top of the other of the flowers, because to me that is more of a realistic interpretation. And mainly that's because in life, when we create, it's not all about having everything lined up perfectly and separated. You're going to have things that are kind of mixed together, layered on top of each other, that kind of thing. So I'm just doing some basic leaves here where I am not doing any wriggling, anything like that. I am just going down one side, kind of curving out a little bit and pulling it back. And then the same goes over here. I will go down over that. Now, when you do it like this, you are going to pull up some of the paint from underneath. If you don't like that look, then what I recommend is that you give this some drying time, or you hit it with a heat gun or hair dryer so that you don't have any of that mixture of paint. And again, you can use smaller brushes. I'm just trying to minimize the brushes that I have to use for your sake, so that it's not too expensive for you to paint. So if you have a variety of brushes, feel free to switch them up and use those for your painting. And I'm just trying to lightly put these in. I don't want too many leaves on this one. I'm just going to leave it kind of simple there. Now I am going to take my dotting stylus. I'm going to go into the licorice, and then this is where I'm going to do a lot of dotting around the base here. If you don't like this part, please leave it off. This is, really, it's not something that you have to do. Okay, now I'm just going to do a little bit over here. Again, I hope you like this. I try to do a variety as much as possible. Sometimes it's hard. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see done, please let me know. I'll do my best to create it if I can. Again, I'm just doing little taps here. Just having them come down somewhat. There you go. Pretty easy, right? I hope you like this video. If you do, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and before you leave, if you would share this on your social network with your family and friends, I would appreciate it. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you stopping by. Stay safe and healthy, and until the next time, you have a good one.